Hey everyone, it's Melanie Allen, Senior Ruby Ambassador. I'm so excited to have Dr. Graham on tonight. She's going to go over part 2 for Mastermind. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her.
Hello, good evening everyone. I went to a Mastermind seminar in Orlando, Florida in November, and it was a multi-level marketing seminar for anybody in the business, not just Plexus. It had representatives from countries and numerous places around the world that do their own MLMs, and then of course American companies as well. And so the topics were covering how to become a successful.
Dr. Graham, I'm so sorry, but I went ahead and muted everyone. Can you go ahead and unmute yourself? It's in the lower lower left-hand corner.
Do you need me to start all over again, Melanie?
I think we're okay. We started getting some background noise, so I wanted to go ahead and mute everyone. But yeah, you just can go ahead and go from where you were.
Okay, so the Mastermind Conference in November included people from all around the world in MLM marketing, as well as American companies. So it wasn't just Plexus. So the speakers and the presentations were covering topics about how to become a successful business person, as well as how to become the leader that you become as you are leading a group of people that becomes larger and deeper and wider over time underneath you. So the topics I'm going to cover tonight are, first of all, I'm going to cover the topic that was giving about 10 distractions that we can possibly have. Some of these you've heard before. Some of these may be new, and some of these just may be a new challenge to you. And then the second topic I'm going to cover is how to be the best leader so you will attract leaders to your group. So first of all, let's just get started with the top 10 distractions. And this talk was by a person, if you want to look up his name, is Andy Dooley, Andiduli. And he first said social media. It's very easy to get caught up in social media, whether it be via Snapchat, as my teenagers go on to, or Instagram, or Facebook, or whatever your social media choice is, to get caught up in that. And you think, oh, I'm being productive. I got on, I read everybody's Plexus post. Well, then you look down, and next thing you know, it's 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half worth of time, and you have not been very productive. You have not done any IPA or income-producing activity. So what I would recommend is that if you have difficulty getting caught up in this, is just don't do it at all. In other words, get on Facebook, but you get on there with a purpose. Get on there with going to your team page to find out what the latest information is, to do your postings on your team page, your regular social media pages, maybe to go to a couple of key people who you try to follow and learn after, or maybe your mentors, or maybe people in your downline that you want to make sure you go to their page and like their post for the day to encourage them. But don't get caught up in it. Another suggestion would be is to set yourself a timer. If you feel like I really will, even just doing those kind of limitations will get caught up, and set yourself a timer for maybe 10, 15 minutes. And when that timer rings, you are done. You are finished. You've got to go back to your income producing activity. He also said, set yourself goals, which Melanie and Melissa talk about frequently. But he also said, write them down and visualize the results. One of the things that Melanie has shared with me, and I'm sure with many of y'all as well, is that her and her husband went to the Lexus dealership, and they not only looked at the cars at the Emerald, when you become an Emerald in Plexus, get to a lease, but they looked more at the cars that the Diamond gets to lease, took photos by it, did a test drive by it, and she has it up on her dream board. And that she looks at every day. She visualizes what that's going to be like. Another thing is that the speaker, he had his goals written down on a small little piece of paper about this big, and he had a coat pocket, and he had them right there in his coat pocket. So my guess by that is that he carries them around with him in his wallet or in his pocket every single day. I have mine. These are my affirmations. These are not, some of these are my goals on the bottom, and then these are my affirmations up here on the top, and I have scripture verses back here on the back. And I just took a piece of laminating paper and, put it on both sides, and then it sits on my bathroom counter. You can do it a number of different ways. At one point in time, I was like, I'm going to become a millionaire. And so I stuck $1 million fake bills in my wallet, in my purse. So every time I opened up my wallet, I had $1 million sitting in there. It wasn't real money. It was, Monopoly kind of money. I had it sitting in there, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be there. And I did that until I hit that goal, and sure enough, I took it out of there and didn't have that anymore. So visualizing your goals are huge, because it's all up here first before it actually becomes the activity. Next thing he said is get rid of TV. So one of the statistics that one of the speakers talked about was, if you add up 24 hours in 7 days, it's 168 hours in a week. And then he said, if you sleep 8 hours a night, you sleep 56 hours per week. And then if you work 40 hours at a job, you work 40 hours out a week. And then he said, typically eating meals and family time is 42 hours out of the week. And he said, if you add all those up, and I took a calculator, and sure enough, I added it all up, 30 hours are left over. And he said, the average American spends that watching TV by doing 5 hours per day watching TV. And I was shocked by that, 5 hours per day. That is just unbelievable to me. So he said, an entrepreneur needs to spend most of those 30 hours pursuing your dream and working on your business, not watching TV or playing video games or running around on Facebook or whatever you might be doing. But you need to be doing that if you're going to succeed in your business. Next is, if there's any life obligations that you can delegate and you can afford it, go ahead and delegate it in order to free your time up. So that would be an example of maybe having somebody come and clean your house. Or if you feel like, most of your weekends are taken up by working out in the yard, mowing and edging and weeding, and you're like, I was going to work on plexus today, but the yard took me 6 hours, or, whatever. So maybe you need to hire somebody that comes out maybe every other week and mows your grass for you, edges and weeds, and you just do a little maintenance here and there. So try to delegate any life obligations you possibly can. He said, turn off all notifications from texting, cell phone, email notifications.
I know. Do I know her?
And whoever is on the call tonight, welcome. But if you would have reached down on your left-hand side of your screen and hit your mute button, because some background noise is coming in through the message, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. So turning off your messages on your texting and your cell phone and your email doesn't just pop up on your phone, because a lot of times that becomes a distraction in our life. So if you can get those turned off, you can then focus. Today, this afternoon, I was sitting at the kitchen table with my teenager. She's working on an assignment while I was working on my plexus business, and we kept hearing this ding, ding on her phone. Well, it was a group chat that was going on for some of the kids in her class. It had nothing, though, to do with the homework that she was working on or any homework that she was going to be working on. But it kept going ding, 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 and we were both ignoring it. But I know many times I want to just pick that right up and read it, especially if it's my phone. And I know she would want to. Probably if I wasn't sitting there, she probably would have gotten sidetracked and not focused on what her assignment was. So that's another suggestion. People in your life. You are building a business, and you want to surround yourself with people who believe in you, who support you, and do not tear you down. So it may be a time in your life that you need to evaluate, are all the relationships in your life ones that will help you to achieve your goals. Now, the relationships may not actually be that the person's working with you in your business, but they're not opposing you. And if it is like somebody like a family member who you really can't eliminate from your life, then maybe you need to keep the contact with them to a minimum, or keep the conversation to a minimum about your business. But if there's somebody who you can eliminate, like maybe you have a friend that every time you take a step forward, they want to say something negative about whatever you're doing. And they may say it with a joking smile, but you leave the conversation feeling, You may want to evaluate, is this a relationship you want to continue and to continue pursuing? That doesn't mean that you don't stop praying for them, thinking about them, maybe reaching out to them periodically. But do not surround yourself with negativity, because negativity is what will go again back to what I was mentioning earlier. You have to envision it first. Negativity will try to pull that vision and make it look rusty and distorted, as opposed to clear and sparkling in your mind. Also, let your family know that you're working your business. You know, I will tell my kids, okay, I need an hour worth of working my business. Or I'll tell my husband, you know, this morning I need to get up early and I will be working on plexus before we go and do this. So let it become a family affair. I have some cups that I give away at my opportunity meeting. My 14-year-old loves putting them together. And so the other night, I don't know, I had maybe 15, 20 cups. And me, my 15-year-old and 14-year-old all sat down and put the labels on the cups. And it was fun. And then we loaded them up with some little surprise, some gifts on the inside of them. So, you know, whatever you can do to become a family affair, maybe your kids can help you somehow. But just let them know they want to support you. They want you to succeed. They see the benefits of what this company is doing in your life, in their life, and financially in your home. Your workplace, your environment is the next point. If your environment is cluttered, get uncluttered. Get yourself organized. Whatever your organization system looks like, get it organized. My organization may not be the same as yours, and that's perfectly fine. But don't be so unorganized that you are discouraged every time you go in to sit down, or that every time you go in to sit down, you feel like you're having to clean it up once again. Be organized. Also, plan out your week ahead. Sit down maybe for 30, 40 minutes and plan out who you're going to contact on Monday, who you're going to contact on Tuesday, and so forth through the week. Go back through your follow-ups. Go back through your no's that you had. Go back through people that are customers and ambassadors to reach out to them. So just plan your week out. Plan who is going to be my new ones from your list of 100. Who are going to be the people that are customers who I want to flip to ambassadors. Get that planned out. And even if you are unable to do that, say on Saturday or Sunday for the following week, if you can the night before, at least do the following day. And then that way you can hit the following day up and running. If you work full-time, such as myself, you may have to do it a little bit more of in the nooks and crannies of your day where you can't sit down for a straight block of time. Others of you are like myself where you can't sit down for a block of time, but it's all at the end of the day. But you might be tired where you're like, I can't remember or think about who to contact. So you already have your list right there, and you like go boom, 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 boom. And next thing you know, your IPA hour is over and you feel very accomplished. Clean up your emotional home is what he called it. So in other words, my mother would call it your internal tapes. So what are you telling yourself? Now, we already talked about your goals and having affirmations written down, and this is part of the affirmations. If there's anything that you're telling yourself that I don't deserve this, I can't do this, success is not for me, whatever you might be telling yourself negatively, you need to remove that from your thought process. You need to have affirmations. And even if you don't have any of those going on, you still need to create affirmations. Affirmations are ways that every day you look at, or words every day that you look at, and you tell yourself basically, I believe I will, so I will. I can do this, and I know I can, and it will accomplish. And what will be amazing, and I can definitely count on this and tell you from experience, that you will look in the future back at the affirmations and go, I cannot believe I went through all of that and accomplished all of that. You'll be like, wow, I was able to check that off, check that off, check that off. And that's all part of that goal setting. And then the affirmations come along as the foundation. You're not building your goals on some sand that's going to wash out because you start telling yourself negative stuff. You're building your goals on concretes that have pillars that are 10 feet down into the ground. Firm foundation that those goals will be accomplished. Do not live in the past. No matter what your past is, if your past was bankruptcy, if your past was a divorce, if your past was I came from a home where my dad had to work 3 jobs and my mom had to work 2 just so I can have the clothes on my back, or whatever your past is, maybe you heard things like, this family, we don't ever accomplish anything, or you can never be an entrepreneur, or maybe you owned your own business in the past and it didn't fail or do the level of success that you expected it to do. Okay, that's the past. Get over it. It's time to move forward. And I know that's easy for me to say. I am not you. I'm not living or thinking or knowing the knowledge you have from your past, but you have to release it. You have to remove it from yourself. And today is a brand new day. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. So step your foot forward, walk forward, and you will succeed. Comparing yourself is also a cancer. So as you, maybe on Facebook, you're like, wow, they started 3 months after me and they're already at Ruby. I can't believe it. And here I am. I'm only barely gold. Stop comparing yourself. Their walk is not your walk. God has something He's doing in your life that He wants to accomplish as you go along the journey. And as you go along this journey, you will become a newer, better improved person. And so stop comparing yourself and you just look at what you need to look at for yourself. Success, sometimes when we get up to certain levels, it can become a hindrance. If we start welling ourselves up with pride and we think, oh, we're here, we finally achieved, and you don't work anymore, that success will be very short-lived. So don't think that once you get up to the goals that you have set that you won't have to keep working. It will always keep working, but it'll be at a different level. It'll get more and more fun as you advance up, as well as financially, the blessing that it will have on your family. Don't let your head get too big as you become more successful. And this time, do look a little bit back in the past, not at the negativity, but look at where you've come. Every single customer, every single ambassador is one more step toward your future advancement. So be grateful, be thankful for that. As you set goals, they keep you from having distractions because you're able to be crystal clear and focused. Write down your goals and then figure out the why you are doing those. And why these goals must happen in your life, and create a list of everything that needs to happen. So in other words, write down your goals and then think about and even write down, why do these goals have to happen? And then after you do that, write down everything that must happen in order for these goals to happen. So this afternoon, I wrote down what month I will hit my rank achievements. And it felt so good. Even though I haven't accomplished them all, it felt really good. So I will be looking at that every day, and I'm excited about it. But that doesn't mean my goal and what I wrote down is exactly what you will be writing down. So, but write them down and you will find that they will occur. So leadership. Let's talk a little bit about leadership. Every time you face a no or a rejection, or every time you're up late at night, or every time you give up like a family movie or a TV night when the rest of your family's in there watching a show that you used to watch all the time, all of those are building skills and character in your life that's going to make you become a better leader. So a little bit of work can accomplish quite a bit, but a lot of work and a lot of action will get you massive results. So every time you encounter somebody, as I said earlier, that says no, you just go for another person that says no and another person that says no, because there's a certain percentage of people that will say yes out of all the people you contact. Maybe by now you know that everybody that you contact is not going to say yes, and that's perfectly fine that they're not going to say yes. That just means not right now. So I continue to reach out to them periodically, give a shout out, just let them know I'm thinking about them. You never know. When I very first started working and posting in Plexus, I had been posting less than a month. And an acquaintance / friend, so not a close friend, contacted me and said, you have been posting on Facebook, and I've been on here for 3 years, and I've never seen you on here. But 9 out of your last 18 posts are about Plexus. Are you trying to sell me something? And at first I was like, oh, that felt like a punch in the gut when she said that. But then I thought, you know what? I'm just going to reply nicely, and I don't know her intention here. Hopefully it is very positive, and she's just curious. So I just replied with, I'm so glad that you're reading them. I'm glad you are noticing. Yes, I am taking Plexus, and I just want to share it with the world because I believe in getting healthy from the inside out. Thanks so much for letting me know. And how's your family? And that's basically what I said. So over Thanksgiving, she contacted me again and said, in a month, I want to order Plexus products. So here I am, somebody who I thought was sort of being suspicious, or I could have even thought she was making fun of me or whatever negative. And here she is contacting me because I've been consistent in my posting. She's been listening and observing. And people are watching even though you may not realize that they are watching. So let's see, we already talked about that an entrepreneur will spend 30 hours, that extra 30 hours in a week pursuing their dreams. So attracting leaders. Number one, you've got to be happy now. So a leader is happy now. They enjoy the journey now. If you wait for your circumstances to change to become happy, you will never get happy. The circumstances will change, and you still will go, well, I need to get happy when this happens now. And then this will happen, and then you'll be like, well, I need to get happy when that happens. You'll never be happy. So choose to be happy. There's a local radio station that is on their campaign right now is I Choose Joy. So a lot of times circumstances happen, people happen around us, and we can make the choice. Are we going to choose to revel in this circumstance and think about the whys, the hows, the how could have, all of those things? Or are we going to think, I choose joy. I choose to be happy in this circumstance. This is not my choice of what happened, or this is not how I would have handled the situation, but I'm choosing joy. And that's what leaders do. They also embrace adversity. Winners fight for the long haul, and believe it or not, most people quit at adversity. So when they get those no's from people, they go, I just can't do this anymore. No, winners embrace the adversity. Success, Winston Churchill says, success is never final, and failure is not fatal. So failure will not kill you, and success is never the ending point. In the end, it's the courage to continue that matters. So in the midst of adversity, it's the courage to continue that really matters. Leaders have to be a light in the midst of adversity, not like a weather vane that turns as the wind blows this way and turns that way as the wind blows that way. They do not act as a weather vane, but they have to be a light in adversity. So next is to turn your fears into fuel. So true winners turn their fears into what drives them. So what is your fear? Is your fear of somebody saying no? Is your fear of being rejected? Is your fear of you don't have enough time to work your business? Is your fear of not having enough knowledge about the products? Well, then you turn that into stuff that drives you. So every day, make it your goal to read or listen to something about at least one of the products. I saw a post on Facebook last week that one of our ambassadors is doing a 15 days with Plexus. So she's taken the 15 products, and every day she's talking about one of them. So you could do something like that. You could write down the 15 products and say, Monday, I'm going to learn about the breast exam kit. Tuesday, I'm going to learn about the Mega X. Wednesday, I'm going to learn about the ProBio 5, and on and on and on until you get through all of the 15 products. You don't have to learn a whole lot. You just need to really learn one or two sentences that you can understand and that you feel like your audience would understand. As you turn your fear into fuel, is your fear about the no's. Remember, I was talking about the people saying no to you earlier. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. You know what? I'm not going to stop my income-producing activity today until I receive at least 2 no's. That would be a way to drive your fear. Your fear, if your fear is maybe of rejection, some people take a no as rejection. Or maybe it's that the products, you feel like you're new on the products and they may not work like the ambassador who you signed up under worked. She had very physical change in her body, but you're not seeing the same thing in yours. Well, let that drive you. Let that drive you to be consistent with your products. Let that drive you to maybe add another product into what you're already taking. Maybe your goal is to lose weight, and maybe you need to add in the accelerator or the boost if you can. Let your fear be your fuel to drive you. That's what leaders do. So we've already talked about this topic a little bit, but the power of association and disassociation. We talked about disassociation earlier, of removing the negative people in your life that are tearing you down. If you physically can move away from them, do that. If it's somebody that you're married to or somebody that maybe a relative or something that you really cannot move away from, well then don't talk about Plexus with that person. Turn your subject in, turn your conversation into something that will not break you down. I say a lot of people will try to drag you down and you need to avoid those negative people. The power of who you associate with is very powerful. So what basically I take that to mean is, if you are going to hang around people who are positive, who wake up in the morning, and whether they're a morning person or not, but they look at today as a day that the Lord has made, and they're going to be rejoicing and they're going to be glad in it. Those are the people you want to choose to hang around, as opposed to the person who, oh, I got to go to work. What else is going to happen to me today? Oh, I got to meet that mean boss of mine. Oh, woe me, woe me. Well, then you will start to think like that person if that's who you're hanging around. Or if you're talking with maybe a fellow ambassador and all they can talk about is somebody jumped off their team, somebody white-lined, somebody they keep contacting people and everybody keeps saying no. Well, then maybe you need to turn that conversation around, and if it cannot turn around, then maybe don't talk to that ambassador anymore. You need to get around the ambassador who's like, when you ask, do you have white lines? Yeah, I have white lines, but I go ahead and reach out to them. And you know what? I've had a couple of white lines come back. At that time when they went white, some personal issues happened in their life. that financially they felt like they couldn't afford it, but I showed them how if they get a couple ambassadors and a couple of customers underneath them, they were able to afford the products, and now they're back on board. Doesn't that sound a whole lot better than the person like, yeah, I just keep getting all these white lines all the time, and people just don't understand how these products are going to help them? Well, that doesn't sound very encouraging. So the power of who you associate with is very powerful. The next point, don't take yourself too seriously because no one else does. What he meant by that is to be the best you can be every day, and be a force for the positive. So one of the things I have been really working with over this past year is to be grateful in all circumstances. It's very easy for me and also for my husband to quickly look at the negative first before we look at the positive. So him and I both been working on looking at the positive before we look at the negative. And maybe we don't even have to look at the negative. We can just focus on the positive. But be the force for the positive. So people will want to gather around you because you are the one that's sharing the positive things. You are the ones that's turning it into cherries out of sour apples. You are making the situation be a positive. People want to be around those kind of individuals. And you need to say something good to someone every day. You know what? When you wake up in the morning, or any of us wake up in the morning and we just don't feel quite right that day, but if we go around and not say anything to anybody, or, we're the first ones to, jump on the person at the store that they didn't get their act together, they sent you over to this desk for help and they couldn't help you, so then you had to go over to that register for help, and then they couldn't help you, and they had to call their manager. Instead of griping at the manager going, I've been all around the store, I've been to 3 different people, can't you train your people better? This was very simple, wasn't it? That would not be a positive. The other end of it is, you know what, I am so appreciative that your people know that you are the person that has all the answers. I'm so glad I got the top dog. I know I'm getting this done right. That would be a positive. People want to hang around people that are positive and who are speaking life into them. Well, why don't you be that person? You be the positive person. You be the person that's speaking life. Your down team needs to hear from you. They need to know that you are on their team, that you're in their corner and rooting for them to have success where they can live well, feel well, and look well for many, many more years to come. Leadership is the scarcest resource out there. Leaders, some people are born with some leadership skill, but all leaders have to grow that skill. And even if you naturally don't have an inclination to be a strong leader, you can grow that skill and become a strong leader. That's why leadership is the scarcest resource. People don't want to put the effort into becoming a better leader. But being a Plexus ambassador that is talking about the product with other people means you are a leader. Being a mother means you are a leader. Being the room mom for your kids at school means you are a leader. Being the adult child of an aging elderly parent who has to make the decisions, that means you are a leader. We are all leaders in some capacity in our lives, but are we growing in our leadership? Only you can answer that. How do you grow? Listen to audio tapes. Hang around people who are strong leaders and can be a mentor to you. Read books on leadership. Go to YouTube, watch the Diamond documentaries, listen to the trainings that the different people give on the About Plexus products. This is how you become a leader. Leaders always set the tone. So for your downline, if you are complaining like back in October when the back office was crazy in that transition, if you were complaining about, I just can't believe this, can't Plexus get their act together, I don't know when I'm going to get my products, so there's no way I can tell you when you're going to get your products. Turning that around, going, you know what, we've got the greatest company out there. They're only doing the very best for us. And right now, this is a huge growing curve, but I bet you in a month, 2 months, we're going to look back on this and go, Shoo, we made it through, and look how blessed we are now with this new back office. See how I just took the same situation and turned it around to a positive? That's what a leader does. The leader sets the pace as well as the tone, and leaders provide the atmosphere for growth. So you, for your team, provide the atmosphere for your team to grow. So if you're training them to share the products with 3 people, and then you tell them to talk to their people, the 3 that they got, for each one of them to get 3 people under them, and so forth, you're helping not only your team grow, which helps you, but you're setting the atmosphere for the growth. You're also setting the pace to change lives. That's what I always go back to personally, that these products are literally changing lives. And it is so exciting to hear an individual testimony of how these products have changed a person's life, had made their outlook look much better, have allowed them to do things maybe they haven't been able to do in years. Never apologize for how hard it is to win. Remember, we talked about those extra 30 hours and not watching TV, but using those 30 hours to work your business and to be the entrepreneur you are called to be. Don't apologize for that. You need to carve out those hours, but it's hard work. And right now, you are laying down the groundwork to become successful in the end. And again, we never hit success, but to hit your goals is what I mean by success right now. The goals that you write down on the piece of paper that we talked about, and you succeed there. Find the people in your line who have the desire to have a learning desire in them. So to have a desire to learn, in other words. So not only you want leaders underneath you, but you want people who are willing to be trained, basically. They don't have to be like all scientific and learn all the knowledge of the products, which is also awesome. But people who are willing to be trained and learn and to listen. They aren't necessarily the people who know it all and won't listen to how the team's growing and to help the team and help you. These are individuals who are willing to do this as a group and are willing to learn. The ultimate success is in how many lives you have changed. How many lives has these Plexus products changed? And if you do not share it with someone, where are they going to hear it from? But I can guarantee you they eventually will hear about it, and they eventually may sign on, and then you will be looking at yourself going, what? That was my son's kindergarten teacher, and I was doing Plexus at that time. Well, did you ever tell her? Did you ever tell her about it? The time when she's like, you look so great today. What are you doing? Oh, I got a new blouse. Well, yes, you got a new blouse, but really what she's seeing is the glow in you from the inside out, and that blouse is just complementing your complexion to make it even look more shiny and clean and fresh. So if you don't share it with someone, they will eventually hear. And focusing in on how many lives that will be changed. There are so many people out there who are going to bed at night not worried about the extra 15 pounds on their hips, but worried about how they're going to pay for their children's Christmas this year. Well, what if they had started Plexus in September and it was somebody that you thought about, you had on your list of 100, but you never, got bold enough to reach out to them? Well, who knows? It could have given them another $400 or $500 into their account that would have saved and greatly helped them at Christmas time this year if you had only shared in September. So don't let your fear, don't let your distractions in your life, don't let the old playing tapes in your head run around telling you can't do it. Don't let all these what appear to be barriers in the road that are rising up keep you from accomplishing your goals. I believe in you. I believe in myself. And I believe that if you believe in yourself, you will be able to accomplish these things. And how you believe in yourself is writing down your affirmations. writing down what you're going to tell yourself every day about what an awesome person, what an awesome team that you have, and who is God going to bring into your team, bring onto your team today. Wake up every morning with expectation. Wake up every morning with good news in your mouth and in your heart. And whose day are you going to make today by sharing life and love with them? Thank you.
Wow, Dr. Graham, that was so good. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I'm going to open it up for some questions, see if anybody has any questions for you. So let me unmute everyone.
I just want to say you are amazing. I am just watching you grow and lead, and I'm just so excited.
Thanks, Marilyn.
No, you just, I mean,
You did a great job. I'm just like taking all these notes, and I'm thinking, wow.
in my spiral, I can't write fast enough. I mean,
I know I was talking really fast. I was like, I was all excited.
It is so true. I mean, everything you're saying, like I wake up and I'm saying my affirmations, and I've realized how important it is as we grow. It's so important, what we're filling our mind with and choosing joy. And of course, that's all I listen to is 89.3. But I love that campaign going on right now. And I think that whenever there's issues that are going about, I'm like, I'm choosing joy. I'm choosing joy. So, it's just how you and what you think about, you bring about, right? So knowing you have the fastest growing team in place, knowing that everything, just saying those affirmations and believe in them, it's really true. I love it. It was great.
It was a great training. Very great training. Thank you so, so much.
Well, thanks for being on tonight.
Lauren, do you have any questions? Or Larissa? Kristen? Tonight is Kristen's very first training, so we're excited to have Kristen on tonight.
Welcome, Kristen.
Kristen, do you have any questions for us? I don't know. Lauren, what about you?
I don't have any questions, but I am in complete awe, Dr. Graham. You are amazing. You did that like the most natural leader I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, thank you.
Completely impressed.
What about you? Everybody's being shy tonight, Dr. Graham, but it was very good.
It's okay. Okay.